this episode. A couple famous gals joining us today. So really, really cool. I know everyone's anticipating this. Hey, everybody. We're streaming this for the first time on YouTube and LinkedIn. For YouTube listeners, watchers, everyone that just gets content on YouTube, do us a favor. It'll allow us to keep putting out this great content, having great guests on, great episodes. Do us a favor, subscribe to the YouTube channel, like and listen, comment, give us a question, good, bad, or indifferent. Engage with us on YouTube. That'd be really, really helpful. Appreciate that. And then we also have the chat going here on the live show as well. So we are going to also put in LinkedIn profiles. Hey, Jennifer. Hey, Sandy. Yeah, cool. Sandy's putting in LinkedIn profiles for our guests and for us as well. Please engage with everyone that puts their LinkedIn profile in the chat. Do us a favor and put yours in there and who you're working with and all that good stuff. Give folks another minute to do it. So awesome. Appreciate it. And we'll do some shout outs here in a second. I want to get folks in here and we'll get the guests and introducing themselves because they'll do a better job than me. But yeah, hey, everybody, thanks so much for coming. Appreciate it. Another episode of Hey Nonprofits. I can't recall if did we take last week off, Sandy? I can't recall. There's a lot of these. We do about 48 of these a year live. So I think we took last week off, if I'm not mistaken. But hey, Jody, thanks so much. Awesome. Oh, no, Dave Raleigh. Okay, cool. Sorry, Dave. If you're here, yes, that was awesome. It was a week before. We're taking another week off for Memorial Day later on this next month. But that being said, we'll get us cranking here. Hey, as I mentioned, a shout out is coming from each one of us. I'm going to get us started. Special shout out to Blake on our on the HGA team. HGA Fundraising, by the way, is what powers this whole thing. The most profitable auction items in fundraising. Blake is handling. He's our social media manager. He works with me and Sandy and the whole team. And he's got us going, streaming on YouTube and LinkedIn. So special shout out to Blake. Can't thank you enough, brother. Can't thank the entire team enough for making this possible. This is awesome. All of this great feedback about the pods and the webinar. So can't thank everybody enough. Nikki, before we get into, and Kristen, before we get into introductions, a quick shout out. No rules, just positive. Yeah, from you, if you don't mind.
I want to shout out our chapter staff on the Signature Events team. In our quarter that just wrapped, every single event came in over 100% of their revenue budget, which is just amazing in this current economy. And we're just really proud of our team.
Far out. Nice. Kristen, a shout out if you don't mind, please.
Yeah, of course. I'm actually going to shout out anyone in the great city of Tulsa right now. I'm here meeting with donors, and oftentimes I think in our line of work, we forget about how much it fills your cup up to be face-to-face with donors. So I've really enjoyed my time here the past couple of days. And so for anyone on this call, if you haven't had coffee or lunch with a donor this week, this is your call to action. I hope I'm inspiring you to do that.
I love that. That's great feedback. Holy smokes. I love that. Yes. Get coffee with your donors. Good stuff. So you're in the 918. That's fantastic. Kristen, while you're at it, do us a favor. Introduce yourself and your role to the audience, if you don't mind, please. And we'll have Nikki do the same after you.
Of course, Trevor, thanks so much for having me here. I'm Kristen Bowles. I am an AVP for Signature Events at the National Multiple Sclerosis Society. I am thrilled to be a part of Nikki's team, where we lead high-impact fundraising events here at the Society. It's what we call signature events. I've been in the nonprofit sector for 15 years, and I'm just thrilled to be here.
I love it. I love it. Thank you. Nikki?
Thanks, Kristen. Thanks, Trevor. I'm Nikki DeFalco. I'm the Vice President of Signature Events here at the National MS Society. And I just joined this group back in August and really excited to be on the ground with our frontline fundraisers here at the Society. I've spent over 20 years in the national nonprofit sector. I started my career at JDRF, which is now Breakthrough T1D, and then moved into nonprofit adjacent work, working for One Cause for about 5 years, and now just excited to be here in my role at the Society.
I love it. I love it. Decades of experience with events. We're going to get into that as well. Hey, my name is Trevor Nelson. I'm the Chief Gratitude Officer, as mentioned, at at HGA Fundraising. Once again, the most profitable auction items in fundraising, consignment tools that you can use at your next live auction, silent auction, online auction, all the above. And as mentioned, Sandy is putting in some links here where you can connect with our guests. Please continue this conversation when we get done. We're all available for that as well. And I love it. I love the start already. I think it's really, really good. I'm gonna peel or turn back the clock a little bit. This conversation got going months ago, Nikki, in typical fashion. So many things that we see on like LinkedIn and what have you about everything, frankly, fundraising. And you and I had just met you. We didn't know each other super well. And I was like, you need to come on and talk about this point. And the whole point being, events are your pipeline. And we had a mutual friend speak about that at a conference, I think, right before I saw it. And you were just like, oh my, I think it was Mallory, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
She's not even the events gal. Right. It's like, this is the, right. And so this is what got the conversation going. And we'll take like a 30,000 foot view from both of you, if you don't mind. Nikki, you get us going, about why events still matter and why they should matter regardless of the size of your organization.
Yeah.
I understand your approach in the localization piece, and I thought that was amazing. And Sandy will put up the podcast that you and I did a few months ago as well. But why events still matter, 30,000 foot view, and then we'll get more myopic.
Yeah, so this is a hot topic every single day on LinkedIn. I feel the conversation now shifts to major gifts is the way to go. And it absolutely is an incredible fundraising strategy. But I think that we would be remiss if we didn't acknowledge that those that come to our events might not be part of our community. And it is our opportunity to bring them into our community, to get them engaged with our mission and giving to our mission, right? So I think you cannot just enter with a major gift strategy. You have to think about the comprehensive view of a donor and how they enter that stratosphere.
I love it. I love it. Kristen, your thoughts about events from, once again, that we're going wide lens here, but any thoughts that are pertinent?
Yeah, I'm really in lockstep with what Nikki said. Events can be the front door to an organization, the front porch, actually. And I think one of the biggest misconceptions in nonprofit fundraising that we've convinced ourselves is that events are about the event, and they're not. Your event is a donor pipeline, and if you're treating it, or if you're not treating it that way, then you're really leaving money, relationships, and the opportunity for long-term impact on the table. Strong events create connection, consistency, and conversion for our teams and for our organization.
I love it. I love it. So you all have a giant sample size with, you and then, your experience and your teams. Once again, you and I got in that conversation, Nikki, about, the localization of your events, because y'all do 70 plus
a
year. Yeah. That's a big sample size. So for the folks that are like, hey, maybe they have a 3-person team, or maybe they do, 3 events a year, or what have you, and they don't do 70, some things that you're noticing from this big sample size, like you said, you all are crushing revenue goals, in a tough time, when there's a lot of uncertainty and this and that and the other thing, we don't need to necessarily get into economics. But what are you seeing, or what are just a couple of great takeaways that you're seeing currently that are working at your events? Because once again, the sample size is so big.
Yeah, so I know in the podcast we talked a bit about localization, taking it back to the community. We're starting to see past volunteers re-engage as they get excited about being involved in the architecture of an event, right? So really giving them that opportunity to re-engage and to come back into the space and help create. So that's like something that we're really seeing that is starting to re-energize our teams. But additionally, just really trying to create, like Kristen said, a different type of community. I'm not sure if you guys have read The Art of the Gathering by Priya Parker. Incredible book, but it talks about how your event strategy, every component of the event should be part of your strategy, right? Nothing should be left up to chance, from the invite list to the run of show. It is all architected, right? So I think really leaning into that has given us some opportunity that we have missed out on in the past as well.
Yeah, you mentioned, and you threw like the 3 C's out there, I want to say, Kristen, right? Yeah, about that too. And it's like that focused intention. Yeah, Kristen, speak about that too. I mean, having intention about and what this, looks like and what it hopefully will turn into. We can get into like bringing new people into the event and what have you. But yeah, having everything weaved into that outcome that doesn't just stop the night of. Yeah.
Yeah, I think, Nikki really touched upon an important part, which is, and that's exactly what I'm here in Tulsa doing right now, is bringing those donors in to be a part of creating the architect for or serving as architects, for your event. And what is that going to look like? But more importantly, what is it going to feel like? What do you want
Mm,
your donors to say about the organization? How do you want them to feel from the moment they walk in that door until the day or the moment that they walk out of the door? And then more than that, right, that's where you start to get into the pipeline conversation of what are the next steps. But pipeline really should be circular, and that starts before the event even
yeah.
launches, right?
Yeah.
And so what I'm seeing at the MS Society that is working, and what we're going to continue driving within signature events, is being intentional really early in
Okay.
markets where we're building sponsorship specifically and securing fund the mission commitments, right? If that's a component to your event, it really shifts the entire dynamic. The opportunity is making that level intentionality consistent so that every event is truly functioning as a pipeline for your organization. So that's kind of the building blocks of if you oversee a single event or perhaps a collection of 3 events, having that consistency for your events is going to create that pipeline for that path to having 70 successful events within a portfolio.
Totally consistent message across, like all channels early and often. I hear all that as well. You mentioned architects multiple times. Is that the moniker that you use to like identify these folks that are going to help you build these events? Do you call them architects, or is that just something that just came up naturally?
It just came out today, but I think that we should, right? Like, because that
Yeah.
feels really good and intentional.
Yeah, I thought that might have been by design. Yeah. You're talking about these folks, Kristen. Double click on this because you're talking about getting these folks involved early, sponsors, folks that are going to be giving large sums at the fund of need. Having those conversations just for the audience. How far in advance are you having those conversations?
Well, like I said, I really look at our pipeline timeline holistically. And so there's several entry points to that. So perhaps it's someone, that is a repeat sponsor. Let's use as an example, right?
Yeah.
They continue to sponsor your event. You should be having that, touch point immediately after an event to talk about their experience, their investment, how did they feel about their sponsorship, giving in the room, having that ROI meeting, and then regular continue touch points. So perhaps your next year ask with that sponsor is not happening immediately afterwards, but it certainly is happening within the next 3 months, right? You
Yeah.
want to
Yeah.
capitalize on the incredible experience that they had, hopefully, and then you want to build success for your next year to continue to build and grow off of that.
That sounds really simple, right? Right. It sounds like, okay, this is like we should be doing this. And I don't, not your work or the way the process, right? It sounds as in theory very, very simple. Do you think that folks have a difficult but unfortunately a lot of folks aren't doing that. A lot of folks aren't engaging with their sponsors post event, asking them for feedback. Is it because they're afraid of what they might hear? Like what did you ever experience that, Nikki? Did you ever experience that yourself when you're engaging with these folks post event where you're like, I know you're not afraid of much. It doesn't seem like you are. But that being said, it's like I think a lot of people like should be having these conversations because hopefully you're not asking right away, for next year, but it's building into asking for more, which we're constantly nudging folks to do. It's like if you've been a sponsor for a couple of years at this level, we should absolutely be engaging coffee, more often, consistent, and then asking for more and more involvement as an architect of the event, the future event, right? But you talk about that, Nikki. Why do folks not do that so readily, unfortunately?
I think, I think we're not careful enough in signature events to create a strategy that is intentional inclusion and exclusion, right? So I think that we mail out our sponsor forms, we hope they come back, we're not having those intentional conversations with them, but we're not even thinking in a way that is who do we want in our room and how do we get them, and then how do we keep them engaged. I think we often look at our ballrooms, look at our event venue rooms, right? And we're like, what can we do with the people in our room? But that's not the question we should be asking. We should be asking who should be in this room to create a best in class experience. What is that intentional inclusion and exclusion, right? And then if you back up to that point and then start to architect that strategy, I think it would be much easier to understand the why they aren't going and asking those questions and not getting that feedback. I think we're just so stuck in the status quo, and not because we're not great at our jobs, but because our jobs are busy and it's event after event, and we move into the next cycle and we forget to do the things that really build the culture that we need within our events, right? So I think we're just missing the opportunity. We need to reset that strategy and look at what it needs to be.
Follow up to that, Kristen?
Yeah,
Anything?
Trevor,
Yeah.
I'm super passionate about this topic.
Yeah.
And actually, it makes me think about something that I heard you say recently on a podcast, which is to not overcomplicate the process, right? Donors are consumers. It's really not complicated. But I want to
Wow.
shout
Thank
out.
you. Thank you.
Yeah,
Kristen, you get to come back. You get to come back now. Thank you, Kristen. No, just kidding.
well, it's a great reminder, right? That sometimes we can really get in our heads about strategy, for sure. I'm guilty of that all the time.
We all are.
But like you
Yes.
said, right? Donors are consumers. It's not that difficult. Think about what we would want as a donor and a consumer. But beyond that, something that I like to say all the time, and it's easy to remember, is we can't plan, post, and pray that revenue is going to show up.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, we're not giving the mission, whatever organization you work for, we're not giving that organization's mission the respect it deserves, if that's our strategy. And beyond that, that creates a cycle where our teams are exhausted. They're questioning what they're doing. Our donors are underengaged. And for Nikki and I, it's a stressor because revenue feels unpredictable every single year.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so building that plan and that strategy in advance and executing on it, which is really the kicker, right? Executing on that earlier throughout the year, and having that year-round strategy is what is really the game changer.
I love it. I love it. I think, there's another thing, just piggybacking on those points as well, is I think that there's this really misunderstood or underutilized, like, just human piece of getting people's feedback and being okay if you drop the ball. I did a bad, like, there's like little things. I've heard this before. I've said it before. It's like, hey, I didn't reach out to you till 90 days after. That should never happen. My fault.
Yeah.
No one else talks to people like that. No one is that honest and that human. You know what I mean? And you don't have to hide behind anything. You know what I mean? Like you said, the organization demands that respect. You know what I mean? That's front and center. I think it's just, and the mission demands that respect. I think it's massive. Appreciate that. We had a couple questions come in I want to get to really quick. And please, another call for questions. We got the gals for another 40 minutes or so. So Elizabeth McLean, good to see you, Liz. Hey, for events with lots of sponsors, what is your strategy for who to talk to and when? Start with hire and go down. Start with recommitted sponsors. Good question. Kristen, you get us going.
Oh, that is a great question.
It is good. Yeah.
I don't like to ever triage our donors based on their giving capacity, because we are human beings, and what happens at the end of the day or what happens at the end of the week or the end of the month, right? It's not our best selves. And so I think when it comes to organizing your donors and prioritizing, I like to start with low-hanging fruit. So, which donors, which sponsors are you most closely connected to, or perhaps a committee member, a board member, an honoree is connected to,
Yep.
and they can make that connection point for you, right? Those are your easy ones. And I think that gives you a little bit more bandwidth, headspace, and moment for intentionality to connect with your sponsors or donors that may be either harder to get their attention or need a little bit more attention. But at the end of the day, whether they are a small sponsor, a small donor, or one of your largest in the room, they deserve your time and attention equally, and to really share the success and ROI of their investment, right? I even like to use the word investment rather than donation. Anyone in that room, particularly an event, is making an investment. For us, it's to cure MS. And that is just such a powerful statement.
Yes.
And it really makes a difference.
I love it. I love that framework. We always like invite over ask. Like to hear
Yeah.
what y'all think about that too. Nikki, addressing Liz's question, anything to piggyback on or to close the loop on?
Yeah, I just would also like to add that every sponsor should have an account plan, just like you would with all of your donors, a relationship manager. It shouldn't just be about the ask, it's the year-round cultivation and stewardship, right? So
Yeah.
we shouldn't wait until it's time to send out our sponsor collateral to ask them to re-engage or upgrade for your event. It should be a year-round account plan, just like you have for all of your donors.
This sounds super simple. Once again, not because of the fact that it's a simple job or the processes that you have all created, but just that consistency makes it easier to make the invitation,
Mhm.
right? As opposed to like, oh, I'm building up to that. I gotta hit that. We gotta ask, but if you, once again, year in, year out, day in, 12-month process, as you mentioned, cyclical, it makes it a heck of a lot easier to make that invitation, right?
Yeah.
Or ask for the investment, right?
And take the
Um,
time and segment them, right? I think
yeah,
that that's a missed opportunity. If you're not segmenting them, you're not considering what your time can allow, you're
yeah.
just going to set yourself up to fail, right? We know we can't reach out to every donor in the same way, every investor or stakeholder, to Kristen's point. So really be intentional about that segmentation, make a plan, and then execute on it.
I love that. I love that. I'm just taking notes. I love the architect piece. I love what you said because I have a question to follow up, Nikki, for both of you. You said something about creating, like, it's like sometimes it's addition by subtraction. You get the wrong people in the room.
Yeah.
That's a difficult conversation to have. I don't actually want to, I'm going to bookmark that one for later. But you're talking about getting the right people in the room, identifying the right people based on the community that you're working in. You're obviously doing that right now in Tulsa. If I'm projecting, Kristen,
Yeah,
forgive
that's
me.
correct.
Right. That's what you're doing. Right.
Yeah.
So that being said, and you mentioned committees, you mentioned board members, you mentioned investors and architects that you already have on board. For the folks that have a difficult time asking them to invite their friends who you've identified that you want in your event, what do you say to those folks that may be very, very new to this or just have a lot of fear about asking, hey, I noticed that you're friends with the CEO of the bank, or I noticed that that you are playing golf or whatever it might, I don't care, pickleball with that person. We would love for them to come be an investor or an attendee at the event. Talk about how you create that messaging and how you get over the trepidation and arrive at the outcome that you want.
Yeah.
Please, sorry.
Yeah, I can take a stab at that.
Please, oh yeah, pardon me. That was for you, Kristen. Sorry.
That's okay. Oh, sorry about that.
Sorry. Bad host. Yeah.
No, it's all right. I think sometimes, actually, a lot of the time, it's not about empowering your committees or your volunteers to make that ask on your behalf. It's actually about just getting a foot in the door, right? We are the development professionals, and while I love to coach and empower committees and volunteers to kind of be little, development professionals out there as well, I understand that this is a volunteer role for them that a lot of them are incredibly passionate about, but it's not their day job, right? It's
Yeah.
not their bread and butter. They don't eat, sleep, breathe development work or fundraising strategies and all that stuff that we talk about, right? So it's less about saying, hey, would you come be an investor at my event or at this event that I'm supporting, and more about, hey, I'm really passionate about this cause. I know you might not know a lot about the MS Society, but it's something that I'm really involved in right now. Do you have 10 minutes that you could listen to, my friend Nikki over here, and she can share some more information about what's happening? It's a really exciting time to be involved in this organization.
Love it.
That's it.
Love
That's
it.
all it
Yeah. Love it. Nikki, anything to add?
I just agree completely. Like, bring us along, right? They are the connectors, and we'll execute on that. So bring us along.
Yeah. Good. Once again, very human. Not earth-shattering stuff. Okay, yeah, very human. Everybody's taking notes and listening. Hey, Jennifer, thanks so much for the question. Please keep them coming, everybody. Okay, gals, do you suggest sending a sponsor request through email or calling, prospective sponsors, or going to them and asking in person? Email is so easy, but where is the point you should call or check in? Wow, great question, Jennifer. I think a lot of people probably have that question. Appreciate you presenting that. Nikki, you start, please.
Yeah, so great question. I think there's a lot of nuance to it, right? So when I think about like who gets that personal outreach, is it a new sponsor? Is it someone that we've never introduced ourselves to before? Is it retention, right? Like, are we asking for an upgrade? Or are we just, sending out that email like we do every year to try to get them? So I think that goes back to your segmentation, right? How have you tiered? Are they a likely yes, right? Are you looking to revamp or enhance your sponsorship levels? I'm a huge proponent of reaching out personally, especially to those top levels, because I think that often we just send out our sponsorship collateral with general benefits and just hope that it's sticky. And I think it's more than that, because not every company is interested in the same benefits. They don't want to look the same in your ballroom. So get on the phone and ask what they want, what's of interest to them. Create a menu of opportunity that you can offer at each level. And we've seen great success in that because sponsors feel heard and they feel like they've invested in your event, to Kristen's point, and they can see themselves in the event. And that's very, very important.
I love it. Kristen?
I think it would be naive of us to say that we can't be wildly successful in this digital landscape, because we are and we can be. But it's really about what are the steps you are taking for connection point prior to that email that you're sending. First and foremost, like Nikki said, a discovery phone call, coffee, whatever it may be, finding out about that prospective donor, even your current donors. You should not ever assume that they just want to do the same thing that they did last year. And so having that discovery meeting, and really being intentional about listening to what they want, what is interesting to them, maybe what they've recently done or seen at another event with another organization, and learning from that. Many times in discovery meetings, I'll ask a question if it's a new company that has never sponsored. What other organizations do you support? And what have you really loved? What's a sponsorship that you've recently done that you just like nailed it, knocked it out of the park with?
Yeah.
And learning from that and being able to customize and tailor from there. And then, yes, leaning on, the great things that we have when it comes to digital, right? People do lean on email, and love having, tangible things in front of them that they can see and go through, on their own time. But it's also about, what does that look like? The design of it, right? Not sending just a menu of options, but customized options tailored to that individual. Does it represent the brand that you are? Does it represent your organization? Is it professional? All of those things are really important. And for anyone that's on the call today that's on my team, how passionate I am about this and how much that matters. But we see it in the results. So it's important.
Yeah. Is it on brand with what that sponsor will expect because you took the time to get to know them? And they don't look at emails, maybe. I don't know, right? You know what I mean? It's like, of course, absolutely. I love that. Getting to know once again, coming back to the human piece as well. I think it's great. Great question, Jennifer. Thank you so much. More questions, everybody, if you don't mind. Yeah. Oh, yep. You're well. Thank you, Jennifer. Thanks for coming. Fun. Very, very good. Hey, love where we're going. Love how you started the conversation, Nikki, as well. And that's a soapbox I like to be on, because I really, really believe that people thumbs down events too readily and just say, you need this. And you're talking about major givers with the sponsors, Kristen, for the events. You know what I mean? It's like people say, I love major gifts, people. I love them, right? And we're friends. They've come on, all this great stuff. But fundraising is an and game, not an or game. It's kind of like the live auction or the fund to need. We can get into that too. Okay, for sure. But that being said, let's talk about events and how and works with events. Talk about your opinions. Nikki, you start about when it's a good idea to have a more in a specific community, when it's a good idea to have a more intimate gathering of top donors, top sponsors, top investors, and maybe have the new event as well, where you're bringing new folks in and exposing them to the mission and what you all do and having a good time and this and that and the other thing. Talk about that and the success you've seen with segmenting events and the potential there as well.
Yeah, I think it goes back to what was the response of the community, the donors in that community. Are they responding to a large signature event that's your standard live auction, fund the mission, or are they looking for that more intimate space? And the only way that you can know that information is to landscape assess your community, right? What type of event is garnering interest there, but also asking your constituents, what would they like to see, what resonates with them. Is it that more personal, intimate event? And I don't think you have to say that you can go with one or the other, right? I see the opportunity for these more intimate cultivation or warming events that happen before your larger signature event.
VIP, it could be,
Yeah.
it sounds corny, but it could be a VIP exclusive event. I mean, things
Yeah.
like that work. Yeah.
Exactly. And you can
Yeah.
bring the like similar parties together to have that conversation that might be more, in our case, research focused, right? Those that are interested in investing in that research, they still love to come to our events and have that celebration and big mission moment ask, but they're really more interested in the granular work that we do and would like that to be put in front of them. And then they often will make a larger gift because of that. So really thinking about how that fits into your strategy.
Yeah. Yeah. How passionate are you about that, or opinionated are you about that, Kristen, about this, like, maybe different events based on the community, or we're ready for that, or you don't have to agree with me, by the way. Yeah. 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 What do you think? Yeah. Yeah.
No, I think Nikki's obviously correct. We need to do. Every organization should be doing an assessment of their landscape and be fluid and flexible through that process, because that is going to change, right? Maybe you've had a long-standing gala in a market for 20 some odd years, and it no longer is serving its purpose. It's not what the audience is asking for, and you can have just as much, if not more, of an impact with something that is smaller scale, more intimate, but packs a lot of punch. What I would say is, and I know sometimes it can be tricky, figuring out what works for the landscape, particularly if you're overseeing a large portfolio size, there's cross state or cross market, and figuring that out. I would say, again, don't overcomplicate it, make it simple, make some, sound choices and decisions and roll with it. But what I will say is, whether it is a small, intimate event or a large scale gala, every part of the experience, from who's in the room to what they hear and how they follow up, should be built to move someone forward, right? We're talking about pipeline development here today. And it's really about creating a journey that is clear, compelling, connected to a next step. Because if someone leaves your event inspired but unsure of what to do next, then you've lost the opportunity.
Love it. Love it. You said something very subtle as well, Kristen, where you said you're having a conversation, using like a quick case example of having a conversation with someone where, and I think we fall in this trap. I've noticed I do it myself, or I've done it at least in the past, where I've gone, hey, what does this look like? Like a perfect partnership for you. What does it look like? And then you're asking the person to like do this Picasso of like exactly. And you said something once again, very, very subtle. You said, where have you gone where they nailed it? You know what I mean? Like it, like, cause they felt it was visceral. They were there, not creating some figment, right? Like, I know that sounds super subtle, but like I said, I've fallen into that trap myself too. It's like, what does a perfect evening look like for you? It's like, you know what I mean? It's like, that kind of thing. It's like, I think there's a very deliberate, albeit subtle change of how to go about that to get the right outcome. Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
It was
Trevor,
good.
I think we see that same kind of mentality when how many times have you met with somebody that you just recruited that checks all of your boxes as a committee member, right? Super connected,
Yeah.
a leader in their own capacity, maybe connected to the mission or just generally really philanthropic. So they check all your boxes. You're super excited. You go into your first discovery meeting with them and you sit down and you say, so who are you going to invite to this event? Who are you connected to? And what do they say? I don't know. I don't know anyone.
Yeah.
I don't have anyone. Right. And so
I'm not there yet. Yeah. Yeah.
right,
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
exactly. And so, asking and retweaking what you're saying and asking those intentional questions, there really is so much power in that subtlety, right? Draw upon an event that they have attended or supported and say, how did that make you feel? Right. Or when you're
Mhm.
meeting with that committee member, coming with some names. And sometimes it's actually about coming with the wrong names. But maybe that's for a conversation for another time.
It's good. We're getting scientific here. I love it. I love it. Nikki, anything to add to that?
No, I think Kristen's spot on.
Yeah, it's good stuff. It's good stuff. Nicole, how do you steward donors year round, sponsors, donors, any unique examples? Well, Nicole, I'm not answering for you guys, but Nicole, I mean, obviously you do it year round, right?
Mhm.
With digital, tech, phone, in person, all the above. 30 seconds or less, Nikki, an answer for Nicole.
Yeah, just build that plan, right? Year-round plan. What does it look like from post-event to next year's event, and just overall, not about the event, right? About the mission.
Kristen?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And obviously Tulsa is fresh on my mind because I'm here right now meeting with donors, right? But it's about, we talk a lot here at the Society of building society citizens. And
Mm.
so that's not necessarily a bike participant or a signature event participant or a walk participant, right? It's about building that connection that ties an individual, a company, a sponsor to your mission and the core work that the organization is doing rather than siloing them and kind of putting them into one box. And so
Mhm.
communicating that throughout the year and looking at it through that lens will give you a wealth of information and touch points. In fact, you'll probably be over communicating with your donors.
Yeah. Which is not a bad problem. You're keeping them in the loop. I think it's because I just think no one like so many orgs just drop the ball on that. God bless them, but they drop the ball on that piece. Staying in front of folks and picking up the phone and hey, I was just if you don't know what to say, we always say thank you. Hey, I just hey, thanks so much. I saw the yeah. I mean, it can be so simple, right? Hey, I want to not necessarily a hard left turn or anything like that. But we want to keep going with on the event piece here and the donor pipeline piece as it ties to events. As we have some great questions coming in, real quick though, gals, and I mean it doesn't have to be super quick. A healthy new attendee outlook. How do we, of course, like you said at the beginning, Nikki, awesome. Architect the event to get the right people in the room, identify who we want in the room. Okay, I like to say addition by subtraction because I think there's some energy vampires out there and what have you. You know what I mean? But holistically, 30,000 foot view for what you all are doing at signature events. What does that look like? Not, I'm negating churn or anything like that, but just like we want new folks, new faces at the event. What does that look like on a ratio, or is there a perfect science to it, or is it, I'm rambling, but you get my point.
Well, industry standards are around 40%, but you want to strive to be at that 50% mark when it comes to retention and new audience, right?
Cool.
Because you want to consistently bringing in new people to your mission, to your organization, and ultimately to your pipeline.
Love it. Boom.
Yeah.
Exclamation point. Kristen,
Nice
go.
job.
Yeah, go.
Well, considering that I am on Nikki's team, I'm going to say everything that Nikki just said.
You can have your own
You
opinion.
need to give us more. Sorry, Kristen. You're not getting off the hook that easy.
No.
Sorry. No, just joking.
No. I mean, look, retention rates are really important, but I don't think that it's a hill we have to die on because I think that pipeline development can take on several iterations, right? And what I mean by that is that, signature events participant might decide to go build a walk team, for example. They absolutely loved what they saw in the room. They're super connected to the mission, but they've only got so many corporate dollars to go around, and so they see that there's a little bit, maybe more bang for their buck for their organization in building a walk team. Hey, they're still a society citizen. They're still in
Totally. No, that's a good outcome. Yeah.
Exactly. And so, I think that all of those little details factor in when we are looking at statistics and numbers and retention. There's always like a color and a context to it. But yeah, I mean, we want to keep those folks engaged. We want to keep them coming back. But if somebody wants to move over to a walk team, but they're saying, hey, but you know what? I've got so-and-so over here that I think would be great to sit on your committee. I'm gonna pin them and get them involved to kind of backfill my role in a way. Fantastic. Love that.
Yeah.
Let's just keep that. Let's keep that, windmill moving.
And if that person doesn't happen to be the most magnanimous person out there, I don't think it's beyond you to go, hey, you're going to be missed.
Yeah.
Is there anyone that that would, do? I mean, they could never do it the way you could. No, I'm joking, but you get my point. Like, that's a conversation to have, right? Like that you're going to be missed. Who do you know? And they probably know somebody, but have that conversation. Yeah. Really, really good.
A great practice is to ask, can you nominate someone? Would you be willing to
Who would you choose? Who would you?
Yes. Would you be willing to nominate? Yeah. And sometimes it even takes, right to your point, some people are not, as magnanimous around that, or they're not forward thinking. They get a little nervous around that piece, right? And so you can come with a list, say, hey, listen, creeped your LinkedIn.
Give them the courage. Yes.
Really interested in,
yes.
Or I saw these folks were sitting at your table last year. How connected are you to them? I'd really love to learn some more about these individuals. Do you mind connecting me?
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah, good stuff. Simple little twists. I love it. We got a couple questions that came in. Awesome. Jennifer, thanks so much for the feedback. Appreciate it. Okay, kind of off topic. Get out of here, Jennifer. Nothing's off topic at Hey Nonprofits. But I went to a fundraiser last Saturday, Jennifer said, and it was the first time I'd been to an event where the auction was online. It seems so much more organized, easy, and much less stressful than the way my organization has always done it. Is there a particular online auction platform that you think is best? Okay, cool. Nikki, get us going, gal. Yeah.
First of all, I'm so glad that you got to see that in action, because I feel like if you haven't, it's very easy to say we should have a paper and pen auction, right? That's how our donors like to be engaged. It's entertainment for them. But once you see the online auction in action, you can really strategize around that and bring that forward before your event, get people engaged, get their information from them before the event even starts, and give them that opportunity to start raising money before you ever step in your ballroom. I would say from just a tech stack perspective, I've used them all, right? From Givergy to GiveSmart to Greater Giving and One Cause, right? They're all very similar. So I would say as you're looking to see what type of platform you would like to use at your event, just really consider your needs, right? They're all pretty close in pricing. They have similar features, but there are some that have leapt ahead in some of their strategies within the software. So just consider your needs. I'm happy to make an offline recommendation if you want to reach out to me as well.
Please. Yes, that's awesome. Jennifer, yeah, you see Nikki's LinkedIn profile as well. Please connect with her and Kristen, everyone for that matter. Connect with them and thank them and show them some Hey Nonprofits love and support for coming. Love it. And also just to piggyback on that, Jennifer, we have in-house at HCA Fundraising, Morgan at HCA Fundraising, Morgan at HCAfundraising.com. Email her. She can throw you through demos and spend even more time with you and show you different platforms, all the ones that Nikki mentioned as well. And yeah, you can figure out what's the best fit for your org. Okay. So yeah, Morgan on our team handles that and can do nothing but help. So anything to add to that, Kristen?
No, I just agree with what Nikki said. There are so many options out there. And so really take a look and tailor to what fits best for yours.
And then also, you want to talk about donor pipeline. It was someone that you went to a fundraiser, Jennifer. Okay, gotcha. So if you're not using software, Jennifer, coolest thing ever is that you can get in the data post-event and Nikki said, identify, segment, you can create these relationships and it's all right there. My classic example that I love to repeat, obviously, is the person that's never been to your event before and maybe they bid on a silent auction item, whether they won it or not. And it was $4,000 and you've never met them. And you just identified someone that was willing to give you $4,000 or did if they won at your event, sight unseen, they've never been. That's amazing, right? So that's where we can really even get deeper into the weeds with the data and building out this pipeline. So really, really good stuff. Hope that makes sense. Please, Kristen.
I'm going to add one thing, actually.
Please, add two if you like.
Yeah. So, I think beyond what Jennifer mentioned of it just being so much more organized, probably for, the back end for the staff and the organization, and it appearing, I'm sure, more organized for those in the room. What I will say that I love about using the online software is that it actually still encourages that fun and competitive atmosphere that I think a lot of organizations really liked with the paper, right? We hear a lot of times, there's like an engagement piece when we have the paper bidding and it's competitive and people like to go back and check the papers. Well, now with digital, right? Everybody has their phones in front of them and you can get notifications and pop-ups when somebody has outbid you. And so it becomes really fun in the room. And even as staff, we engage in the room with our attendees, because we can check on our back end, right? The software to see, who is bidding on what or who has favorited what. And we can find them in the room and use that as a connection touch point. Like, hey, Susan, I saw that you got outbid. Do you want to up your bid on that item? I know you were really hoping to get that tequila set, right?
Yeah.
All those fun moments.
Nothing but good that can come out of using it. And the data, once again, post-event. Liz mentioned live auction winners are great for your pipeline. It's fantastic. What live auction items would be a great fit for creating that pipeline, Liz? That's a loaded question. Hey, someone mentioned Zephy, which is all free for Jennifer, I've never heard of Zephy, so I don't know. I want to also caution you, free is not always better. Kind of like the way we say free auctioneers aren't good and good auctioneers aren't free or cheap, right? Do you see what I'm saying? So yeah, sometimes free is not always the best. Okay. So, but that being said, Dawn has a question. Is it inappropriate to give a specific direct ask on the first time meeting? My nonprofit is meeting with the heads of impact and advocacy at FIGS as they want to learn more about us and how we could partner together, but unsure about being so blunt right away. That's a really good question. Go ahead,
think
Nikki.
there's a lot of nuance to that, right?
Yes.
As someone who comes from the major gifts world, right? If you put your CFRE hat on and you think about meeting with a donor, an individual for the first time, absolutely that could feel inappropriate. But when you're looking at building a partnership, and this might be your one and only time to get in front of another organization or a corporate sponsor, I think you have to think differently because that might be the one-stop shop to get that gift, right? So I think that it really is specific to what the intentions have been laid out pre-meeting. Are they expecting you to come in and make that ask? Is that how they typically have those meetings? Or is it a relationship build opportunity?
Mm-hmm. Kristen?
Yeah, it's a tough one. There's definitely
there's a lot there. Yeah.
And I mean, listen, I get this question all the time, from those I interact with or those on my team. And I think we always try to find one magic answer because we all want the answers, right? Where's the rule book? But I think some certain things to consider, in addition to what Nikki said, is timing, right? Are you first of all, is this a major gift prospect or is it a sponsor? Let's just assume she said it's FIGS. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So I'm going to make an assumption that it is some sort of corporate partnership or a sponsor. So, if you are pretty close to your event, then you can probably make a general assumption that this sponsor is going to, or potential sponsor is going to expect an ask in the meeting, right? They know when the timing of the event is, they know what they're in the room for. So no surprises there. So I think in that case, perhaps you can close with that. If you're looking to build a long-term partnership, then probably not end with a specific ask, but maybe ask for a commitment for another meeting, another conversation, or just their general support. Right? Can we count you in on being a partner of ours this year? Not necessarily setting a dollar value, because that still leaves some negotiating power after the meeting to talk about levels and customizations and all of that good stuff.
Love it. Love it. Yeah, chronology, how well you know the person, the introduction, all these nuanced pieces. Great question, Dawn. Thank you so much. And if you like, keep the conversation going with Nikki or Kristen after by connecting with them on LinkedIn, please. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, yeah, it was helpful, huh? That was great. That was great. Well, you have two experts in the space, as a matter of fact. I don't know if everyone realizes how fortunate we are to have these ladies on with us for 10 more minutes, as a matter of fact. I want to get into, I do want to hit you with some rapid fire at the end that I think is kind of cool, right? And I just kind of formulated it in my head. But I think you and I have had this conversation before, Nikki, and it's palpable. So from someone in our position or my position, pardon me, we've built an organization and we have a team, and identifying great people and keeping great people and being great to work with and all these things. I'm noticing there's a lot of cohesion with your team, and a lot of the folks that are on here have teams, whether big, small, middle, all the above. Talk about attracting good people, keeping good people, keeping them satisfied. You both seem very, very happy, and your team loves you. I can just tell. I don't think it's contrived. And yeah, Nikki, you start if you don't mind about just things that are maybe just like top of mind. I know you're kind of new to this role still, even though you have superpowers, and you have a ton of experience. Talk about, yeah, bringing in good people, keeping them happy, all the above. Something that you could leave with folks for like a minute.
I think it's all about building culture first,
Mhm.
right? As a new person, I tiptoed into the culture and then tried to find myself a place there, but at the same time, absorbing the needs of the culture. So being able to execute on a way that gets people excited to come to work every day, I think is really important in longevity. I also think looking for areas of interest and strengths and then championing those, right? So we just did an exercise for our field staff, really looking for areas for them to lead differently and things that they might be interested in leading on a national scope, right? I think that often leaders make decisions and creates a vision, but doesn't get the buy-in behind it, and no one feels a part of it. And so, what we're trying to do on our team is co create and bring people in and bring them along with us, right? So, helping them find different ways to lead, elevating them in different ways. I know last time I talked to you, I talked about a fantastic team member of mine who is just incredible at public speaking and just highlighting that person in different ways. And so excited to have her on this chat with us today, because
Oh,
I
it's
think that
Chris.
that's the way that you build people up,
Yeah,
right? And
yeah.
she exhibits for herself just these talents, and I'm going to continue to try to find ways to showcase our entire team in this way.
That was beautiful. Oh, thank you. That was
I'm
really
so
nice.
flattered and honored. Thank you.
Yeah. Chris, and talk about that just from like, yeah, from you're obviously committed, and you enjoy your work, and it's palpable, and just some thoughts about just, yeah, people and what you've noticed, that maybe a bad example and a great example, whatever, something
Sure.
for folks that are dealing with that with teams and that are dealing with people, because donors are consumers at the end of the day. We're all just people, like that kind of thing. Yeah.
Well, I think I'm just what Nikki said really is so powerful, because that's exactly why I'm still here today, and having her as a mentor. Culture is incredibly important. I think culture is important to every company, organization, governing body out there. But when we think about the work that we're doing specifically, we are doing human work. We are asking our teams to go out into the community and be relational and human connectors. And if we're not doing that behind closed doors with our teams, then I feel like that's disingenuous, right? And so it really begins with culture and trying to be mentors to one another, trying to be mentors to different folks within the organization and on our team. And then from a business perspective, the teams that see real results are the ones operating with a one development mindset. And I won't sit here and say, that our organization, the MS Society, has that all figured out, because no organization does. We absolutely, though, I think are on the right path, trajectory, and are really intentional about that on a daily basis. And when that kind of translates away from just teams and translates into the work that we're doing, it's where events, major gifts, corporate partnerships are all connected and accountable to the same outcomes. And having that connection and accountability piece to the same outcomes is really what drives, I think, happy staff, engaged staff. They feel part of something, excited about something together. It's that shared responsibility. And I've definitely, over my career, seen the difference when that alignment is there versus not.
You really know when it's not. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And
Yeah.
honestly, that bleeds into the work that you're doing externally then.
Yeah.
And our donors, our constituents, they feel it, they know it.
I may seem like I'm a wild and crazy person, but that was the point. I actually think as well, is that those things are visceral at your events. And I think that cohesion and those cultures can be felt. I think they can be seen. And I think they absolutely can help you build your donor pipeline. You did it. Perfect. I love it. This is going so good. No, that was so good. I appreciate it so much. A couple rapid fire things. You mentioned you're a reader, Nikki. I don't know if you're doing audiobooks or reading. You have a ton of books behind you. Yeah, for folks that aren't watching this. No, but what's one great thing that you've read recently? I know you dropped that one book about gathering. Was that for nonprofit events specifically?
It mostly is, but it also just talks about just creating space for gathering, right?
And you'll put your name on that. That's a really good read.
Oh yeah, it's great. It's on my bookshelf right
Sandy. Now. I mean, Sandy could put up the Amazon link to buy it in the chat. We don't know this person, but if you say it's cool, we'll back you on that.
Yeah, perfect.
Everybody, DM me if you want me to send you a copy. I'll send you a copy. DM me on LinkedIn, and I'll send you a copy about the Gathering book that Nikki just mentioned, The Art of the Gathering.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, cool. All right, fire out. So that's one of the. Sorry, I'm not letting you off the hook that easy. Another great thing that you've read recently.
That is, well, it's a personal book about overthinking.
Mine? Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah. Cool.
So, the title's not coming to me right now, but it's essentially about how to stop overthinking and just act. Right. So, I'm a planner. I'm type A. I overthink. Right. So I'm trying to work on that.
We all do, especially as fundraisers. Oh my God, this is getting it's all right there. It's great. Perfect. Kristen, are you a reader? You like pods? Obviously, you're a fan of the Hey Nonprofits podcast and network. Yes, you.
I am a reader. I haven't, can't say I've read anything recently I would recommend. However, I did listen to a podcast recently. It was a Mel Robbins podcast episode. She had on a professor from Harvard who launched a course called, it's called Gooder Communication.
Oh, wow.
Which is intentionally gooder.
Totally.
It's intentional in the title. But it is all about just the art of human communication, how to be a better communicator, in your personal relationships, in your business relationships, and just the psychology behind all of it. And so I think I'm actually going to audit the course. Really, really fascinating stuff. So look for that podcast on Mel Robbins.
What was one thing that you could extract from that episode that you could apply to your personal and professional life if you have one?
Oh, that is a great question. I think it's just that actually, the way that I just approached that is something that they say don't do, which is
Please.
say,
Yeah.
don't say just. Be intentional about what you're saying. Don't use the word just. But she talked about how we are bombarded constantly by communication in several different ways, right? Text message, email, billboards, you hear conversations around you. And everyone's intention is to be a good communicator, but we're not always the best communicators. And so to just pay attention to the behavior behind it, and make some intentional decisions around, learning to be a better communicator. And it
Yeah.
actually brings so much more joy and peace in your life. So that's the journey I'm on right
Very
now.
good. I love it. That was awesome. Hey, that was an awesome episode. That was really, really good. I can't thank you both enough. As mentioned, well, Nikki, you already came on, but here's your invite to come back again. Kristen, you get to come back again if you like, of course. The
Thank you,
invitation will be
Trevor.
there. I know everyone probably got a ton out of it. It was just a beautiful, the weaving of and the personal piece and all this and the communicative piece. Great ending. Hey, thanks everybody so much. As I mentioned at the beginning of the episode, do us a favor on YouTube, subscribe, like the episode, subscribe to the channel, share it, get the alert button going. As a matter of fact, smash the subscribe button like it's your job, if you don't mind. Can you do that for us? And then also, if you have an event coming up in the next 30 days, in the next 300 days, and you need some great live auction, silent auction, online auction, maybe the golden ticket that just raised at the Berean Christian Academy in Texas, $15,000 net with the golden ticket, just one item. People buying $250 golden tickets. Talk about building your donor pipeline. How would you like to get 100 people that just bought 250 tickets in your donor pipeline that you could talk to and engage with? And I'm going to use the S word, steward, post-event. But anything that you all need as far as auction items, that's what pays the bills around here and keeps the Hey Nonprofits network going, gets, make sure I can buy lunch, all that good stuff. Hey, go to hjafundraising.com. Super easy to reach out to us. We're a family business. We're awesome. We're the best. I don't mind saying so. But hey, enough about us. Thank you so much, both of you. That was amazing. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Thank you, Beth Ann. Appreciate you. Thank you, Jody. Thank you, Jennifer. Dawn, thanks so much for the awesome questions. You all rock. We'll see you all next Thursday.